got a nice little wire here coming across for the all that. All that's coming off.
Oh, that
this is coming off.
Homeopathic anti-rust?
Yes, that's all coming off.
Yeah.
That's clearly very effective. There's a little bit of rust to clean up, but the interior is really nice on it. It's not even clean, and it's a nice looking car.
Absolutely. I mean, there's nothing to touch in the interior.
No, for $1,500, I mean, I think it's a pretty good car. Can't really complain. So we'll fix that up. All 4 power windows work, power locks work. So it's just a question of getting the AC working now. And
is it working a little bit and it just needs a refill, or is it just totally
down here? It's disconnected. So it's like the belt's been cut. So I suspect. Will you hear it? I don't know if you'll hear it. Yeah, it's totally disconnected, but oh no! Like, let's do that. That is a bad compressor. So they did the right thing by disconnecting it, because then you hopefully, fingers crossed, it doesn't end up with a pile of crap inside the air conditioning system. But it's a cheap car. We're going to replace that pump, and we're going to fill it, and let's see what happens. The engine oil looks good. The engine oil is very, very good. Needs just, I'm going to change the oil on it, but it's not, there's no shrapnel in there or anything that's funny that's causing trouble. The battery is weak, and we're going to replace it, because that looks like an OEM battery. Like, that battery is bad. So we'll check air filters, we'll check things like spark plugs, we'll go over those elements. This, like I said, this car had a lot of work done to it, and we got it for a really good price. I think the biggest issue with this car, and it wouldn't stop you from safetying it. That's the thing. The biggest issue with this car is this. And it's just not pretty. If this doesn't bother you, you can save yourself a lot of money. I'm going to fix it just because I like pretty. But you don't have to. You don't have to. You could leave it. You could leave the lights like this. It'll safety. Who cares? But I care, so I'm going to fix it. But it, it's going to be right. And there's a dent there from something, but it's not bad. It's not a bad car. A little bit of rust here and there, and it can all be cleaned. There's nothing on there that can't be fixed. And there's no reason why you couldn't get 2-3 years out of that car with a minimal amount of effort. So.
Yeah, well, obviously the whoever owned this wasn't afraid to get it maintained, so that's always a good sign.
No, I have the original quote that ended it for them. And they told them it needed a pile of stuff. And they believed them. They went and bought another car. And this was sitting in the driveway. But basically, they were told that it needed $2,400 worth of work.
I can see why they get rid of the car after that.
Well, that's just it. They basically totaled it the car mechanically, but there isn't. There is if you take it to a shop and replace it with all new parts. Okay, and they're charging you hourly to do everything. But realistically, for a do-it-yourselfer, this is the perfect car, because all those things that were done. I mean, it's got all new brakes, all new suspension. Timing belt's been maintained. Like, somebody loved it, and it was from a couple that this is the first expense that they bought this car together as a couple before they got married. So there was a lot of love here, and there was a lot of maintenance on the car. So, I bought it from the right people, and like I said, there's very, very little to do on the car, and I think it's a good buy. Aesthetically, it's got some issues, and that's why the value's hurting on it. But like, there's a little scratch on the back door. You've got that rust on the hood. A little bit starting on the bottom of the doors, and that's what's hurting it. But apart from that, it's pretty good. Again, if you're fixing it for yourself, it's one thing. Flip cars, a little bit of a different story. You have to buy it as cheap as possible. A lot of dealers now wouldn't even necessarily fix this. You might have a small car guy who's interested in fixing it. They'll just take this thing right to the auction. They'll make their money that way off the back end. They offer you $500 on trade. They wholesale it for $800. And then some guy will pick it up, try to, fix that hood, do a couple small things to it. And it's a nice little yellow lemon for you to pick up on a lot. But if I'm going to fix it, I'm going to fix it right. It's going to work for a while. Somebody will get some use out of it. Whether that's me or somebody else, I don't fix anything to fix it to sell. I fix it so that I would fix it the same way I do. And then, you have a good car at the end of it. All the hubcaps match. There's no bent wheels. There's a little bit of noise here and there in the back suspension. I suspect there's a wheel bearing or something on it. All very achievable stuff to do in the driveway. And if you have time, again, great father-son project. take the sun out, learn how to use the ratchet set I have in the trunk. You know, like start buying the basic tools you need to repair it. You don't have to go crazy. And it's got a factory Hyundai roof rack, which is just
that's factory roof rack.
that's a factory Hyundai roof rack. And it even came with the key. It's seized, but we'll spray some oil in there. We'll spray some oil in the little doors, and we'll see if the keys will release it. I'll get some good lock oil, and we'll get these off. We'll clean it all up. We'll clean up the roof rails. I'm an expert at that. and then we'll. Again, these are just going to get painted. We're not going to do any fantastic work to this. This is just going to get cleaned up just so it looks nice. I don't think we have to go crazy buying this part and replacing it. It's only, the average one in the wrecking yard is going to look like this too. So, there's a couple of dents along the roof, but again, they had lots of crap loaded on the roof. Well, it's been to the Atlantic Ocean side from Ottawa, so it's gone on some long hauls. And again, there was maintenance because it was driven long distances. So, one of the biggest things you can do to save yourself a crap ton of money on a car is buy a 5-speed. It's millennial proof. You can't. Just kidding. You can't. Nobody will steal it on you. It is actually an anti-theft deterrent. Nobody drives standard anymore. So if you want to learn a new skill, and actually if you want to learn how to drive standard, it's a great car to learn on. You're not going to burn up an Audi clutch, and spend $4 or $5 fixing it. You're going to burn up, a Hyundai clutch. It's an easy car to drive. It's an easy car to learn on. Clutch isn't complicated. There's still, I think, they're 130, 140 horsepower engine. It's not a rocket ship. It's not cool. It's a great first car.
The Santa Fe had, I guess because I'm used to European clutches, the Santa Fe felt nice and spongy. Is this the same? Is that a Hyundai characteristic?
This actually drives like a small Santa Fe. Or the Santa Fe drives like a big Elantra. They have that soulless, disconnected feel that only a Korean car can offer. The materials are of the finest plastic quality, but they're better than they used to be. I mean, would I buy a Hyundai Pony? No, but I would buy this. It's a good car, honestly. It's good on gas, easy to maintain, not overly. They're not known for unreliability, but they are known for every single Hyundai, without exception. If you don't do the timing belt, will blow up. Those things about a Hyundai you have to do. This one's been done. This was done 145K. There's 165,000 on it. So I'd say it's done properly. You start the car, it runs. So, you know immediately if you buy a Hyundai and the timing belt's not done on it, you got to get to it. That's like paramount on a Hyundai.
Is it interference engine, I guess? Or?
All interference.
Oh, okay, there.
Every single last one. The Toyota behind you don't have to worry about it. That's why I was talking about Japanese cars. That's why I bought a Hyundai. I wanted to show you guys that there are alternatives to it. Certainly, it's not a Japanese car, but it's a good car, and I think solid. You can go down the road with it, and there's nothing really bad. There's going to be a lot of people saying I'm knocking on Hyundais. I'm not. Really, they've come a long way. The styling is much better than they were. The styling is much better than they were. I think that's the key element for me in a Hyundai. Because they don't drive any different. Like you go grab a 95 Hyundai and you drive a brand new one today, maybe a brand new one might be, significant. But if anything below 2005, 2000, it's all the same kind of feel. Assisted, disconnected steering wheel, soft clutch, throttle response. That only really a senior citizen would love. Apart from that, I mean, it's not a bad car. You're going to get to work. The bus behind me, you're not on it, right? And so that's where this Hyundai excels. No pun intended. So, you really can't lose. I don't see how you can go wrong buying this particular car on the road for $2,500. And it's a great first car because if you scratch it, somebody's already started it for you. Not really a big deal. And what's wonderful about that scratch is it's on the passenger side. And you get in over there. You'll never see it. You'll never see it. We're going to fix it up a bit so it doesn't rust like, more than this. Like it'll look a little bit better. It'll be good for 2-3 years. And maybe it's good for 2-3 years. Maybe you have a kid now that's like 14. And if you put a little bit of, elbow grease into it, they can drive this car after you're done with it after 3 years. You know, maybe you'll go get yourself, you know, a brand new 2007 Camry, and have all the luxury that this doesn't have. At the end of the day, it's not a bad car. I certainly started myself with cars that were far worse. I fixed far worse than this. Actually, in fact, you know, my Saturn looks worse than this right now. So I mean, you know, in comparison, I think, you know, what would you rather have? They're about the same kind of money. You know, so I mean, you know, if you're this one's got more space inside. It's got a much larger trunk. It's cheaper to fix. This one, smaller, and it drives like a German car because it is a German car with North American badging on it. So when you make a comparison, this is way more expensive to fix. You want to buy control arms for this? They're $200 a piece wholesale. This would be $100. It's half the price. You know, so if you're not one of these people that really needs, you know, the feel and wants the feel of a German car and the expense of a German car, don't buy that. This is a much better car for you. And even better than this is spending another $1,000 more on buying yourself a used Toyota. But this is what I bought. This is what was available in COVID times. And I think it's going to be a great example of a project that we can do for you guys that'll meet that $2,500 budget. I think that's the takeaway here. I think, you know, buy a solid car. If you don't mind being seen in, fix it. This, clearly I'm a little less particular about what I want to be seen in. This is a little bit more interesting. If you go around to this side, this is what I like to call the Latina racing stripe package. Okay? Only Latinas can make this kind of racing stripe for you. If you want that look, I have one in the house. You can absolutely borrow her to get this to do this to your car. I think it's a statement that not many people have, and you know, it's cool. I like it. You know? And then you don't have to worry about it. You know, like if you decide one day you want to park on a curb, a really high one, not really a big deal. You can absolutely just go ahead and do that. It's not a big deal now. Mm-hmm. And we might fix it. We might throw some paint on it. Who cares? $500 car. That's what I paid for that car. It was $500. And I've been driving it for almost 2 years now. So that's a perfect example. Now the price of cars has gone up. That cleaned up, even though I just showed you a whole pile of really cool customizations that have been done to it. Doesn't help the value, strangely enough. But this one here, you know, it's got a little bit of the same kind of patina, and that helps you buy it cheaper. So I would certainly look at get yourself a $1,500 car, and if you hit stuff with it, not a big deal. If you like to park by feel, that's the car for you. You don't have to worry about it. That's it. And one bonus on this one, which is awesome, is that those work.
Oh right, you were saying that. Absolutely. So that came with the car.
Those came on
like that.
It's wonderful. It's absolutely fantastic that they work. You know,
especially that's strong enough to push the thing up actively.
Yeah, it's actually quite impressive, and it comes with this stylish cargo mat, which protects the carpet underneath. And it's a factory Hyundai Elantra Touring. The factory mat. Somebody spent a small fortune on that, and I mean it's done its job. I mean, you look underneath it, it looks great. You know.
And that's really clean.
Actually, that's a fan speed sensor. Actually, that's got to get changed. Anyways, the
some parts.
Yeah, some spare parts. And this here is a little storage compartment. Little cubby hole. What's this? Oh, Jesus. Okay, so
the hell is that for a trailer? Or?
No, it's so that if you break down.
Oh,
which is important when you're driving an old car. You can stick this on the road.
Look at that.
There you go. Now you're waiting for CAA. So you're all set. I mean, it even comes with sky-falling tools and stuff. The socket set is just me when I go to pick up something. I like to have sockets and stuff because you don't know with old cars, so things can happen. It needs a couple things for safety. We'll go over the list and then we'll talk about the repairs more. Lots to do. We got a little antenna there too. This is nice. I got the long one, and I'll tell you, this through the car wash, much better.
Is that stock?
Yeah. Doesn't get torn off. That one always threatens to tear off. You almost want to turn it and like take it off before you go through the car wash with that car. But again, German, you know, it's longer. You'll get better reception. But car wash, I don't know what German car washes do. But North American car washes, they don't like them. This is really good. See, Hyundai. A lot of factory options, guys. That's $300. The mat's $300. That's $600 factory options on this car.
Well, clearly, it was carefully purchased.
It's carefully purchased. It's got the nice little gas release on the floor as well. A little rusty down there because, again, Canada. I don't know what that is under the seat. That's interesting. Oh, look at that. So we got the factory manual and the service passport.
I wonder.
Is there any good? Yes, I'm left-handed. Don't make any comments about how I'm turning pages backwards and stuff. A little card here. For the most part, great car. Even the headliner in this car is fantastic. You really can't, you know, for you guys down the States, you know, you guys have headliner problems. We just have rust. we always have good headliners. We don't ever have a problem with a headliner here in Canada. It never happens. I've never personally ever bought a car that's had a headliner problem, ever, in Canada. It never happens. If it does, it's because we brought it from, you guys sold it to somebody here, and then it has headliner problems. But we don't have those problems. One neat feature about this car, if we're going to be Doug DeMuro for a second, Daddy Doug DeMuro, let's go with I love this. That's really nice. We have to make sure that's lubricated when we put that on there. This car has a really neat feature that's worth mentioning. The air conditioning, when you pull up this little door, can we see this?
Yep.
Pull up that little door, we'll actually put air conditioning into your glove compartment. You say, what? What the hell? Why? And the reason for it is you want to put a can of Coke in there and keep it cool. You have some medication from the pharmacy, and you want to keep it cool. There you go. And when you're all done, you're all back home, and you're done with your picnic. You just put this down, and that's it. You're good to go again. Neat little feature. It's got two 120s in it, right? So that you can plug in your GPS and your cell phone. Those are one and the same for some people now. But I mean, if you want to plug in a cooler, or you want to plug in whatever, you know, you've got an extra one there. So I mean, it's a great little car. It's got lots of amenities, and there's lots of room for activities in here. We've got a cruise control. The radio is nothing to write home about. It works. Like, you turn it on and it makes noises. And then the air conditioning is broken, so we have to fix that. Great little dashboard. I don't know if you want to go around to the other side, Mark, and we'll get the dashboard.
I'll catch that on B-roll.
Okay. On the dashboard, it's got a nice set of gauges. It's got, tells you what doors are open, tells you mileage, tells you, your speedo. It's all very easily readable. It has a red line about 6,500 RPM. I wouldn't be using that too much, but got little mirrors. They don't have lights in the basic ones. They don't have lights. And it's okay. And I think we have a mirror on the other side as well. So you've got two mirrors. You got a sunglass holder. There you go. Nice door lights, map lights. Another light here for the door up top. So lots of lighting. So if you get in here and it's dark at night, you got a cubby hole here for your snacks. You want to put something in there that's delicious. That's a good place for it. Or in there if it's cold. Like if you bring home ice cream from the corner store for the wife in those little tubs and the small ones, put it in there. The Hyundai's thinking about your girlfriend. You're not going to have melted ice cream by the time you get home. Those Koreans are thinking, I must eat a lot of ice cream. But so it's good. I mean, ultimately it's good. You got integrated airbags. You have a dashboard that's not chipping up. It's not all cracked to hell. And you guys go ahead and comment down below. And yeah, I'm a bit of a goof. But at the end of the day, you guys tell me, if you saw this thing cleaned up, would you think it was a $1,500 car? I wouldn't be embarrassed to be seen in it. My Saturn was probably a different story, racing stripes. But this is actually a really nice little car. I think it's going to be great for somebody. I think it's going to be a great car. I mean, I'm going to fix it up and I'm probably going to sell it, but you guys need some content, and I know how to do this. You guys don't know how to do it, so I'm going to show you how. And it's going to be a good time. You're going to love it. Bring popcorn. All right.